Did some competitor 10 years ago set that example and we just blindly followed because we thought we were supposed to? Or does this have a real impact on our work, on our customers, our consumers, on our team, on our story?
Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 4 of our 5-part series with Miranda from the Coffee MBA. And Miranda, we've been talking about global business principles in coffee. And this is what you teach business owners through the Coffee MBA. Today, after having spent the last 3 episodes talking about how much of a clusterfuck all of this is, we are going to talk about how we get past this. So how do we get past all of this?
Well, I mean, it's tough. Like my first answer to that is like, go to therapy,
Yeah,
like work on yourself, get honest with yourself and someone, safe first so that you can then, again, businesses are made up of humans, a bunch of humans. And so like what you have in your life is what you're bringing to your business. And so I'm just going to say I'm a strong proponent of that. But like, I think, at the end of the last episode, we were talking about a bit of like a growth mindset. So what does it take to like even have a growth mindset? And I think it all starts with learning and being curious. I guess the learning, even before learning, it's being curious. Like if you can take a step back and start asking questions like, why do we do that? Why do we put out a 1-pager about every single origin coffee that we sell? Does anybody read it? Like one company I worked for, the salespeople and the educators always really pushed for this 1-pager about the coffee. And the leadership had to keep saying, nobody downloads them. We have numbers about clicks on our website, in our wholesale portal, whatever. Nobody's downloading them. We are wasting our time, and having that like, I mean, they were already ahead of the game, right? Having an answer for that. But like all of these things that you're spending your energy on in a business, like start thinking about why you're doing it and don't just sit there and wonder.
ROI.
Right. ROI. What is the return on your investment? So, but understanding the ROI of a project, a product, a initiative, whatever.
Your time.
Yeah. Your time starts with, why do we do that? Why do we even think that that's important? Did some competitor 10 years ago set that example and we just blindly followed because we thought we were supposed to? Or does this have a real impact on our work, on our customers, our consumers, on our team, on our story?
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Map It Forward's first on-demand workshop, How to Become a Coffee Consultant, available now online for you to learn at your own pace with a certificate available upon completion. Click the link in the show notes to access today for just €50.
Just starting there with that, it's about the mindset, not about like, okay, the practical steps of like, sales tools and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no. Let's just start at the very beginning and start getting curious.
At Host, I saw all this really fancy equipment being released. And a lot of people had a hard on for the fact that they were going to buy all of that equipment.
Yeah.
And shout out to Alan Gerard from 50% Arabica, because he was poking fun at the fact that, all of this equipment that people were going to buy so that they can make cappuccinos with 2 sugars all day.
Yeah, right. Get honest.
Like, why are we doing this? Why do we every 2 years replace our equipment? For who are we doing this?
Yes. Right. Who's our real audience? Who do we really care about? And I think that right there gets so lost. Who do we really care about? People are looking left, they're looking right. They're saying, what are they doing? Oh, I don't want to name roasters, but like, what's this fancy hot shot roaster in the US doing? Oh, that's what's cool. I've got to do that. Why? Is that your audience? Is that how you make money? I can almost guarantee the answer is no. The way you make money is through your customers. Maybe wholesale accounts, it becomes more important. That's a different game. But like, I just get like, again, go to therapy, lower the ego, get honest, get curious, have a growth mindset. Like that is how we start really making traction. And then there's tools after that, right? That can help you. But like, that's where it all begins.
Right. And I'm often saying to people, like, stop comparing yourself to other businesses.
Yeah.
You don't know if it's apples and apples or apples and oranges. There's the example that I always use, and I'm not going to mention names, but the example I use is a well-known roaster in the United States that everybody tries to compare themselves to or aspire to.
Mm-hmm.
And what most people don't know is that isn't an independently owned roaster.
Yes, I know.
They are owned by Walmart.
Yeah.
They are funded by Walmart.
It's like judging someone else's relationship, right? It's like, oh, look at that happy marriage. Look at that couple. No, you don't know.
You don't know.
Like he's off on a sales trip having an affair and she's having an emotional affair on TikTok. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
totally.
You don't know. You don't know.
And so when people say to me, I want to be like X, Y, and Z, I'm like, do you know that they're funded by this company? And do you know that other brand that you want to be like raised $100 million in venture capital?
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware of this, or are you just looking at what's happening on Instagram?
Yeah.
And this is where I kind of want to say to people, like, stop thinking that being famous is a success marker.
Yeah.
It is a burden for most businesses because they have to constantly outdo that. And you have to pour money after money after money to keep up with it. It's a real trap. And why do you think in this industry we're like that?
Well, that's an ugly subject because like,
go on.
Barista competitions have freaking told us that's what we should care about is like, well, they're a barista champion, you know, and my barista champion friends and I joke about that, right? Like, oh, you're a world. I was having dinner during SCA with 2 world barista champions and they said, you know, you're having dinner with 2 world barista champions. And I was like, and who cares?
Yeah,
like, who cares? You know? And then they laugh like it's a joke now because it's like, oh, now we're years enough past that. We're like, nobody actually cares. Right.
No, except them.
And so, yeah. But these younger, I think there's a lot of young people in our industry, right? Because they're fresh out of, in some cases, in my case, high school, becoming a barista. And that's what we do, right? Like, this is why Kim Kardashian is a thing, right? Like, it's no different. We're creating our own version of that and, you know, glorifying green coffee buyers. And I had a green coffee buyer once. I said, hey, do you have any advice for this kid who wants to become one? And he's like, how long can you sit in a plastic chair? Because like, that's what green coffee buying is. Do you get car sick? Can you be in a car for, 12 hours driving to like some village somewhere, right? Like I think we're hardwired to look at those things, social media and all of that. And so we're not just like with business principles, we're not taking that next mental step of going, oh, wait, I'm comparing someone's outsides to my insides and feeling bad about myself when I don't actually know the whole story. Do I want to be Kim Kardashian? For God's sakes, no. Do I want to be this, world champion that has to like go all over the world all the time? If you have a family, no. So like people aren't taking playing the tape all the way through and looking at like, oh, this is where that story ends. Oh, this is how this goes. It's like, we've got to start using our brain and our intuition about like some of these things.
And being realistic and managing your expectations of what it is to do this kind of stuff. Like most people think, I love roasting coffee. I'm going to go and open a roastery. Well, all of a sudden now you've changed the balance of what you have to focus on. If you love roasting coffee, continue working for someone. Because once you open a roastery, you're going to have to spend 80% of your time on business and 20% of your time on coffee.
Yeah. If
you're a business owner, you're in the business of business. You're not in the business of coffee. You're going to need to find people to do that for you, or you're going to have to spend the littlest amount of time roasting coffee and most of your time on figuring out your financials and creating websites and figuring out projected sales plans and all of the other stuff that you don't want to do. And what I find really interesting is that people avoid having to learn that stuff because it just feels too hard compared to the toys that they want to play with.
Yeah.
Which is going to end up getting you into trouble eventually.
Yeah.
Either you don't file your taxes, or you just leave it up to your accountant to figure it all out, or you don't pay permits, or whatever it is. It's a challenging situation for everybody. All right, we've got one episode to go, and we're going to talk about some practical ways to make progress. This is, I'm suspecting, a lot of what the Coffee MBA is about. So
true.
We'll talk in the next episode. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks, friends. If you enjoyed this video, here's what you should check out next. Consider supporting Map It Forward on Patreon, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell before you leave.